Man, yo,
Yeah.
welcome to the Superherocuts show where we talk about things Marvel, DC, Star Wars. It's your boy Stevie Hayes, joined by Jerry. I apologize. This is all me this time. I'm late, so forgive me, but we're here. My brother, I feel like I barely talked to you all weekend. How was your weekend, bro? How are you doing?
My weekend was good, man. Finally have that clown out of my life. I had no patience for it. I hope
For
he's
sure.
watching it right now so you can see me. And yeah, today I decided to go savage. I had a bunch of tweets. You know what? I'm going to give Twitter the respect it deserves and call it X. Because I think it is the best social media app in the game right now.
Yeah.
But I
100%.
had a bunch of tweet posts. We got to call them posts. We got to call it X because Elon is the effing man, and he deserves our respect. I had a bunch of stuff just saved in my drafts, and I was like, and I kept saving them because I was like, these are a little too savage. Like, I don't know. And I was like, you know what? These are like the most annoying clowns on the face of the internet, and they absolutely deserve the savagery. So I gave it to them. And I hope you check out my X account. It's at Comics Cuts. We're recording this at Tuesday. It's 8:58 p.m. So if you check out my April 30th post on X at Comics Cuts, and you can't stand certain people and Snyder fans on X that live in a fictional world, you will see them take some heat and some smoke.
I'd
rather have Mjolnir or Stormbreaker. That's a really tough call. It's a really tough call. Here's the thing. I think Mjolnir is great because it's an axe with a sharp blade, and I would love to slice some people's heads.
That's Storm. That's Storm, not a
Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're right. But I also love when Odin gives Thor Mjolnir in Thor 1, and he's like, a hammer is such a fit tool for a king. It's either used to build or to destroy. And
that is a fire quote in life in general. Wow.
yeah,
What a man. I know.
Wow.
That's deep. That's actually really deep. That just hit me in my feels. Oh my goodness.
The MCU is like so surface level. Get out of here, bro. Am I frozen or are you frozen?
No. You good?
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. But yeah, I think that Stormbreaker's too big. Like I would hate flying around in that personally. So I'm going Mjolnir. But Stormbreaker is cooler. Hold on, guys.
Could you repeat that? Sorry. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. All right. I was gonna say I think that Stormbreaker looks cooler, for sure.
I don't know about that. I think because Mjolnir is like a block. It's like a really cool looking hammer.
I don't know, man. I like Mjolnir just looks way cool. Do that. Mjolnir is more.
Hey, I don't know. I don't know if something's going on your end or on my end, but you're like super fuzzy. You're
okay. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. How about now? Is that better?
You're good. Much better.
Okay, great. I don't know what just happened, but we're here. But yeah, I think that Mjolnir is like the most useful but Stormbreaker just looks cool. I couldn't see myself carrying that heavy axe, even if I have super strength. It seems kind of annoying. I don't know.
That is true. Mjolnir is much, and it's also the OG. And like, you know, when you think of the retro Thor comics and like when he swings the hammer and it looks like a wheel, that's just iconic.
Yeah. I want him to go back to Mjolnir in Thor 5. That's my call.
You know, and I guess let's just take it away with topic number 1 at this point. You know, I think that would be a great idea because they need to go back to square one with Thor 5 and Thor 4, Thor Love and Thunder was so bad that it is now necessary to give Thor a redemption movie. That's how bad it was.
Yeah. Oh, well, while we're here, let's read some of stuff. So Chris Hemsworth, he ended up talking about Thor to I think it was Variety. So I want to read off I want to read off some of these things. And Kamikaze, just want to keep this in your head. I do want to address the Rock stuff on this show in the end.
Okay.
That might go on another channel, but I do want to just talk about that here because that really annoyed me. But so all right, so let's get into the first couple things that Chris Hemsworth said. So first off, here's a quote. Chris Hemsworth says he still can't forgive himself for Thor, Love, and Thunder, and this is what he said. He said this: I got caught up in the improv and the wackiness, and I became a parody of myself. I didn't stick the landing. And then the next thing he said is this: Chris Hemsworth thinks that he owes the fans another Thor film after what felt like a whiff with Thor, Love, and Thunder. So how do you feel about Chris Hemsworth saying that about Thor?
You know, I respect him for it. Like, I don't think that this is an easy thing to say for someone like him. You know, he is one of the OG MCU stars, and for him to say this, it's definitely, you know, it's one of those third rail things to say as an actor in a franchise like the MCU. But I think it's important at the same time for him to let us know, like, hey, I wasn't feeling that movie either. I think this is kind of where we went wrong. I would love to be able to bring justice back to the character. That's kind of what I took from it.
Yeah, I am really happy because Taika didn't own his stuff, you know, and I kind of lost a lot of respect for Taika as a person because, like, if you put out some trash, at least admit it, you know. And so I was a little frustrated about that. So I am happy that Chris Hemsworth is, you know, speaking out saying that it was mid because it was. And someone like Chris Hemsworth, bro, like you could tell, bro, he's actually embarrassed, like after filming that crap. And the sad thing is that, you know, is that Thor, Love, and Thunder, if we're talking about Thor looked dope. Not saying that he was dope, but the way that his costume was and seeing the new things that he could do with Stormbreaker, like I felt like they were like, I felt like Thor. I think that was the best Chris Hemsworth ever looked, and I'm just talking about like body wise and muscle composition and all of that. And I could tell that he was definitely embarrassed by, you know, that job, man.
So number one, I totally disagree with you there. I think Thor looked epic in the first movie. I thought his suit looked dope. I thought he looked dope. Even the scene when he's in the t-shirt and it's in the rain in that tent and he's just taking everyone out. But when I think of what Thor looked like in Thor Love and Thunder, I think of the scene where his clothing was blown off and a bunch of men fainted. Okay. Like that's what I think of. And you know, I am not a fan of the movie. I thought when I was watching that movie, and I said to my friend I was like, that is the worst MCU movie of all time, and this will remain the worst MCU movie of all time. And then the Marvels came out. You know,
Feige said, "Yeah, hold my beer."
yeah. So, but I don't think he looked the best. I don't think anything was good about this movie. And by the way, you know what else I hate? Like,
Go
I
ahead.
absolutely
Go
hate
ahead.
is new Asgard. They should have never done New Asgard. I even think New Asgard didn't belong in Endgame. I just think New Asgard is stupid, and like it was never they never landed it with that for me.
I'll tell you my problem with New Asgard in a second. My favorite costume of Thor is probably Infinity War. Bro, you know me. I love dark suits. The same way the Winter Soldier costume is my favorite costume. The Infinity Wars costume with like short hair Thor. That's probably my favorite. That's probably my favorite suit. So far.
But you didn't think I like the Infinity War too, but his costume in Thor 1.
Honestly, I think the Avengers 1 Thor costume is better than Thor 1.
Yeah.
With the freaking silver arms, that joint was fire, bro.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
That probably actually I take that back. I think that Avengers 1 is the best Thor suit.
Yeah. Also, I like that it has the circles, which are a big part of his they're supposed to be, I think, part of his powers, the thunder. I thought that was cool. But now when I look up Thor 1 costumes, I mean, this looks like a bunch of cosplay. By the way, that cosplayer, you're gonna laugh at this. He blocked me. Just been at the Batman artist. If anyone wants to take a look at the cosplay, which I think, I mean, his new one. I mean, this looks like Alex Ross's Batman. Which, if you want to see what I think of Alex Ross's Batman, you can check my ex. But I'll tell you, I think Alex Ross's Batman looks like an adult cosplay. You can't tell me that you look at Alex Ross's Batman and you think that Batman could take on Bane. I mean, this guy looks like, Jim Carrey's Riddler could knock out.
You're hilarious, bro. You're cracking me up. To me, the only good Alex Ross costume is probably Kingdom Come Superman. That's probably it. Because like the other ones they just don't look good, bro. Like they just don't look good to me, bro.
The Kingdom Come Batman is a little different. Oh, Superman, you're talking about. Because the Kingdom Come Batman is Batman. He's older. He's not really so healthy. So that's a little different. But I mean, the Alex Ross Batman is so bad. And I feel like, people don't want to say it because it's like, oh, you can't talk bad about it.
Yeah.
Alex Ross is like BS. I mean, that stuff is awful. And as talented and iconic as Alex Ross is, his Batman is probably the worst Batman outfit other than Adam West.
I think it's because Alex Ross doesn't put any like defining stuff on the costumes. Like you people how he kind of draws it like flat, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it looks like it's a pajama T-shirt and someone's mom ironed on a Batman patch, and they got this it looks like
TikTok. This is going all over you.
Yeah, it looks like you have an uncle who, everyone's wondering if, and I'm not even going to say that part. It looks like you have a weird uncle that, went to a Halloween party and dressed up as Batman, and he knows nothing about Batman.
Yeah, he's weird.
Batman's supposed to be like cool edgelord, not Alex Ross or at the Batman artist.
Exactly. Okay, so Chris Hemsworth did say one more thing, bro, about Thor, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on it. Okay, so Chris Hemsworth says that he became frustrated with how Thor felt replaceable like a security guard for the Avengers, and this is what he said: I would read everyone else's lines and go, oh, they've got cooler stuff, they're having more fun, what is my character doing? It was always, you've got the wig on, you've got the muscles, you've got the costumes. Yeah, I'm part of the big thing, but I'm probably pretty replaceable. Would you say that in the era of Thor 1 to Avengers Age of Ultron. Do you think that was the case? Did you feel like Thor was a replaceable character?
No, not at all. First of all, there were so many iconic scenes in all of those movies with Thor that like were turning points in their respective movies. You know, and if anything, Thor: Love and Thunder, which by the way, we talk about, you know, stars getting sidelined in their own movies for a female character all the time, and I think that the one that we always miss in this conversation is because it's so bad that we just don't even think about it. But Thor was sidelined for Mighty Thor, which is
Jane Foster.
Jane Foster. You know, she was the real hero of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, dude, I don't remember.
And listen, great actor. I love Natalie Portman.
Oh yeah, she's a legend. She's a legend.
She's a legend. You know, but still, I hate when they do that. It didn't work for that movie. It hasn't worked. There's not been any movie where the MCU has been successful in sidelining the male lead for the secondary female.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is why, like, I would have rather, and people might hate this. I literally was thinking about tweeting this the other day. I would have been totally fine with getting a female Avengers film and then going back to the regular program of like letting Thor let Thor and Doctor Strange have their own movies. Like, let them rock out. Just drop the female team up film. That's totally fine, and then move on. Like, I'm not really a big fan of sideline characters, because when I saw Black Widow, man, what a great movie.
Great movie.
Prime example of just if you want to give them a movie, give it a shot and see what happens. Like, I have nothing against that, but like, as a fan, I felt finagled, if that makes sense. Did you feel that way too?
With Black Widow?
No, with like, you can tell they wanted to make movie. Like, you can tell they wanted to make a movie on Jane being Thor or a TV show, and I felt finagled by you branding me that this is Thor 4, but it's all about Jane.
Yeah, I 100%. It feels, when they do that, that's like, you know, it's funny because Michael Jordan says, like, and I'm pretty sure Kobe said this too. It's funny because LeBron doesn't, but Jordan and Kobe always said, you know, I don't miss games because I don't want to not show up for that one father who saved up to buy a ticket to take their son or daughter to a basketball game, and they spent all this money for the one chance they got to see me play, and I'm not going to play. Now, obviously, it's a little different with a movie ticket, but I'm buying a ticket for Thor 4, Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm buying a ticket for a Chris Hemsworth Thor movie, not a Natalie Portman Thor movie.
Yeah.
And it's not cool. It's a bait and switch. And I feel like they get away with it because we live in a world that, like, believes it's, you know, a social good to make females more prominent. And, like, I'm not against you doing that, but when you're baiting and switching me on a movie, then that's a problem. Like,
yeah,
I
they're doing it the wrong way.
Widow. I love Black Widow. And guess what? Most people didn't. I think they didn't because I think they released it at the wrong time. I think they should have released it before Endgame. But I also like Captain Marvel, the first one. So listen, I'm not opposed to female-led movies. Actually, one of the people I roasted on X today he was like, "Oh, this guy is such a clown." Oh my God. Anyway, you know, what did I say? He was basically whatever. He was trying to make the point that Rebel Moon failed with the critics because they're female led. And I was like, listen, you know, and they used Rotten Tomatoes. So I put up Wonder Woman and I put up Everything Everywhere All at Once, which, you know, Gal Gadot Wonder Woman. And both of those crushed it on both the audience score and the critic score. So you can't say that, oh, well, we can't make female-led movies and just sell the tickets as female-led because then people won't like it. Obviously not the case. And guess what? If you can't do something because you don't think people are going to like it, then like that's the problem. You don't bait and switch them. That's like, if I went and bought Coca-Cola and I opened the can and I got a Sprite, I'd be upset. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Also, and tell me if you agree with me here. I feel like you undermine the female more when you try to mask them with the male branding. Like if you're going to sell the female, just sell them. Like that sounds wrong. But like I'm saying, like if you want to sell the hero, just sell it. You know what I mean? Like
right.
And that's kind of how I feel because and you and I have said this 1,000 times that we would love to see a balance between like give me some female-led projects. I'm totally fine with that. With some mixture of male projects. Like the whole point of the MCU being grounded on men was to give Marvel the space to do different projects. But the issue is that they were doing it the wrong way. And so I hope that, like that we can get, something different going on. And I hope that they learn from these mistakes because this really hurt the MCU in a really bad way. But I do want to talk about Thor 5 though. And
I want to say one more thing real quick.
Go ahead.
So, it's funny because almost everyone who I see online or on YouTube or whatever that's reasonable kind of agrees with what we're saying. But then there are the only people I see that argue in favor of like the America Chavez and Natalie Portman Thor.
The way it was done, you're saying?
Yeah, they're like they are people who subscribe to the idea that it's a social good and they like think it's important and people who are reasonable and are judging this just based on the entertainment alone look at it and are able to see what it is. And then there's everyone else who's like too blinded by the social justice aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that we want more for the female. That's my opinion. I think that
agree.
I like
100%
because we're saying give us the full movie without baiting us with Thor. We'll watch it. Like I'll be honest, like we will. And that's kind of how I feel. Like if you want to go there out, then just make the films about it, and then you'll see where it lands you. So yeah, but I do want to talk about Thor 5. And by the way, like so many people like really, I really want to say this. Jerry and I are we are some of the most reasonable fans on this platform. Like we are some of the most reasonable fans, and you guys got, and like the thing about Jerry and I, we might disagree on some things, and and you're going to see that when we talk about the X-Men, because the X-Men is probably the only thing where him and I don't agree, and that's on all aspects. But like at the end of the day, we want to see Marvel succeed. This isn't like we aren't just frustrated because we're trying to get like just views and clicks. We actually want to see Marvel, DC, and Star Wars be successful IPs all at the same time because we want good content. That's all we want. And so Jerry and I, we see the potential in these projects. And when they get fumbled, we get very upset about it because we see what they can possibly do and how this could have gone. And so that is the heart that we are coming from when we are talking about this. Just want to put that out there,
And we talk about this stuff like all day, every day. So like I know Stevie said, like, we don't do this for views and clicks, but like that literally never crossed my mind to like, have a certain conversation or, take a certain viewpoint for views or clicks. Like, listen, I obviously we want to grow the channel and all that, but we have integrity. Like, we don't say stuff because it's popular or because it's what, we say stuff because it's what we believe, and we don't do anything for the views and clicks. This is pure passion.
Yeah. We're not shills.
Yeah, we're not shills. We're fans of the brand, and we want to see the best. And by the way, I wish that, if I had my choice, I would tell Kevin Feige, and I would unfortunately include myself in this, even though I am completely different from the rest of the fandom in this aspect. He already knows where I'm going.
Yeah.
Cannot stand. So majority of the fandom has the worst takes, okay? And that is why Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever flopped, okay? And Kevin Feige, don't listen to the fandom. They asked you not to recast T'Challa. If T'Challa was recasted, the MCU would be in a much different place right now, which if you listen to the show or you watch the show, you know how and why and all that. But, most of the fandom has dumb takes as evidenced on X every single day. So don't listen to the fans. You guys know a lot better than they do. And if that includes myself, so be it.
100%. Okay, so back to Thor 5 real quick. Do you think they should abandon the Hercules story and just go a whole other route?
First of all, I really like that actor for Hercules. He is incredible in, oh my God, why am I blanking on the show? What's the soccer show on Apple TV that everyone loves? Let me look it up.
I know but it's like a really big show. I know you're talking about.
It's my mom's favorite show. She's obsessed with it. Ted Lasso. Okay.
Yeah, so Ted Lasso. Great show.
Yeah, he is amazing in that show. I think that guy would be awesome as Hercules. But I think they need the number one, Hercules can't be a comedy Hercules. And number two, they really wasted Gore, the God Butcher, and Christian Bale. Christian Bale is, easily, in my opinion, top 5 actors in the game right now. I mean, he is really he is probably the most talented actor the MCU has ever had in the role of a villain. And they absolutely wasted him. Wasted him. So I think Thor 5 needs a really good villain. And I think that's one of the problems that Thor movies generally have. I think Thor 2, a lot of people are iffy on the villain. I think Thor Ragnarok, obviously everyone loved Hela. Obviously everyone loves Loki. But I think that Thor 3 and Thor Dark World and Thor Love and Thunder, oddly enough, as great as Christian Bale is and as great as Gore the God Butchers, I think they failed with it so bad that whether people realize it or not, I think that they didn't do a good job with the villain, and it impacted the movie. And I think that they really need a formidable villain in Thor 5. But I think that it's more important for them to have some kind of journey for Thor that's like a definitive finding himself again kind of story, kind of the way it was in Infinity War. And it's crazy that we have to go back to him having a journey like that again. But, I think that Thor needs to find his manhood again because, they let it be shown and have it knocked out a couple of men in Love and Thunder. So I think Thor needs to, I think that Thor's journey in Thor 5 is more important than the villain. I think they need a decent, formidable villain. But I think it's more important for Thor to be, legit and return to Thor 1 form.
Yeah. I like the idea of Hercules hunting Thor throughout the film. I think that's cool. And then in the end, they team up. I think that's awesome. Yeah, I don't really know who the villain could be. I would love to see something to where Thor sees Loki and finds out that he's like the time god. Basically, I would love to see that in Thor 5. But I mean, I'm not really sure what to see, but all I know is that I just want a gritty Thor movie, get back to the elements of what, Thor 1 and Thor 2, even the Avengers 1 Thor, and really get to where Thor is just a man that seeks peace, a man that seeks peace but loves war. That's kind of the Thor that I love, that I felt in love with Paul's when I was younger. No Diddy. All right, so let's read some of these chat.
Thunder either.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, right. That was a good one. That was a good one. Huh? All right. Which Thor brought the Asgardian accent back? Thor from Avengers. What is how I want the MCU Thor to be portrayed 100%. Is Thor 5 Hercules going to be in it? Do you think in the movie Hercules would turn good? Yes, I do think he's going to be in it. And yes, if you were to make a weapon like Mjolnir or Stormbreaker, what would it be? I don't know.
Yeah, I would prefer a gun also.
Yeah. Almost every Phase 4 movie and TV show is all about a female lead or introducing a new female character. Eternals, Love and Blunder, Multiverse of Madness, Wakanda Forever. That's funny, etc. 100%, bro.
Hungry Almighty, you're on tonight.
Yeah, Hungry Almighty is cooking. I mean, you're not wrong. Hungry Almighty, I read something about that. Is that why fans don't like a film or series because of female leads like Echo in the Marvels? Dragon Trainer, it's pretty much a good portion of fandom that are tired of the MCU shoving boring female characters down your throat. Think about, is it possible we get Echo before Ghost Rider?
By the way, Echo is another great example of like stop laundering them in other avenues. Like the only show where it worked was Hawkeye. Because I think Hawkeye had number one, they introduced 2 new female characters, even though they also had 3 big ones. They had Yelena Belova, Kate Bishop, and Echo, and they didn't try to make any of those characters number one. They let Hawkeye remain as number one, and no one really cared. But when Echo was announced, everyone thought Echo sounded like an L, and myself included.
It's actually a good show. That's the funny part.
It's a great show, but it definitely did seem to have that like social justice driven agenda to it, and they put it out, and it was fire. And like that's the way to do it.
Yeah, and that's what we like. I'll respect and watch that. And that's all I'm saying, And I think that Hawkeye is the blueprint of how you do it. I mean, that's the blueprint. Even Secret Invasion, like that show is everywhere. But I am a fan of how they handle Gaia. I do like how Gaia was handled in the end. So I mean, I think that there's situations out there where that like where it's worked, but it's because they did it like. It's like they made it about the woman, but the movie doesn't tell you, if that makes sense. Like in the Marvels, like freaking Nick Fury yelling "Black Girl Magic," like stuff like that is like the movie telling you that it's about females. And if you have ever studied film, right, a good movie tells you the idea of the movie without having to blatantly tell you, and that's just how film works.
I don't want to feel like I am watching an activist project. I want 100%. To feel like I'm watching a movie because they made it because it's a good movie, not because they're girls. Yeah, not because they're making this movie because it serves their political aspirations of what they think should be right and wrong in the world.
Exactly, because if that's the case, we could watch the news, but like we're here to watch a superhero movie.
Right.
Like, come on.
And it's affecting everything. I don't know if you saw what Jerry Seinfeld said, but he hit the nail on the head in what's going on with comedy. Not going to get into it, but if you're interested in where comedy went, take a look at Jerry Seinfeld's comments because it was amazing.
Perfect. All right, now let's get to some Avengers 5 stuff. The dough, exactly. Look, and it is great to know that we aren't the only ones that feel this way about content. Okay, anyways, Avengers 5. Now Comic-Cuts, I know you're about to devour this, so let it go. Did you want to respond to Doe? He said Seinfeld, he was on point.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it up because I appreciate you, Doe. But yeah, Seinfeld's on point, and Seinfeld is like the GOAT. I actually saw him live like 2 years ago,
really?
And
he still got it.
He still got it. And you know who I sat next to? I sat next to Rose Byrne. I sat next to Steve Nash. And I sat next to the guy who plays Bobby something. I forget his last name, but the guy who plays the cop in Ant-Man.
What? The Asian dude?
No. I'm going to look up his name. Hold on.
Oh, you're talking about his daughter's stepdad.
Yeah, Bobby Cannavale.
That's awesome. Were they
Yeah,
all
yeah.
cool?
Yeah, they were. Rose's laugh was so annoying that I actually moved to another seat. And then when we got up, I realized it was. I didn't talk to them. You could tell they didn't want people to recognize them, but I only recognized them because we were walking out, and I was literally sitting right next to them.
That's cool.
But I didn't bother them. You know,
Cool.
I'm in New York. I see celebs like it happens
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Avengers 5 rumors. Okay, so it says Avengers 5 will feature Captain America, Moon Knight, Spider-Man, Hulk, and She-Hulk. Genosha will become the new headquarters for the Avengers. Now, before you get into it, okay, my time to shine hello ended up commenting and said, she said this. I said nothing about Genosha. That is a lie. And that was also echoed by Daniel Rickman.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
and I know you were like Genosha's a no-go. And literally every scooper was like, yeah, Genosha's no.
Because here's how I knew that this was fake or not accurate immediately. Because Genosha is a place where the X-Men go for, to have their own solitude and be away from humans who they have difficulties coexisting with, right? Now, I forget if we have seen this clip or we were just told what happened in this clip, but either way, we know in Captain America 4, Brave New World, that Thunderbolt Ross says to Sam Wilson, Captain America, I want you to rebuild the Avengers. Now, what that indicates is that the very top of the U.S. government is going to have a hand in putting the Avengers back together. If the U.S. government is putting the Avengers back together, the Avengers aren't going to be hiding out in Genosha. They don't need to be hiding out in Genosha. And that's why I knew it was false.
Bro just cooked.
I know.
Bro just cooked. Yeah.
I knew, like you sent me that, and bro, it was instant. I was like, no.
I know you, bro. You took me back fast. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Bro was like, I'm gonna debunk that in like 2 seconds. I was like, save it for the pod. Save it for the pod. Oh my god, I love you, dude. Okay, so I agree. I kind of went back and started reading about Genosha because I wasn't understanding kind of how Genosha would fit. And I was like, yeah, this doesn't seem very smart to do that.
Yeah.
But in regards to Captain America, Moon Knight, Spider-Man, Hulk, and She-Hulk coming back, I mean, this is pretty much a given. I mean, we expect pretty much all of the characters to be back. The only okay, I hate saying this. Okay, I did hear this on Reddit, and I'm not saying it's confirmed. It's like a rumor, but apparently She-Hulk is getting recasted. That's what I heard. So that should be very interesting. And my guess is that they're probably going for more of a low key type of character if they are going to recast, which means they're going to try to change it up. So that'll be very interesting. But I mean, with all these characters being in it, this is a no brainer. Question: how would you feel about Avengers 5 becoming Secret Wars Part 1 and the Avengers 6 being Part 2?
Listen, I'm more than happy with them doing the Secret Wars Part 1 and 2, but make it a 3-movie thing. I really want to see a Kang Dynasty movie.
Do you know what's hilarious? Denna Nurse said the same thing that you said. Literally, really? Bro, Comic Cuts or Jerry, he put out a video today saying that he wants it to be Secret Wars Part 1, 2, and 3. And he was like, where Avengers 5, you really focus on Kang and Doom.
You know, the other thing about Kang Dynasty for me is that I read the comics, okay? And that story is a cool story, written so poorly because Kurt Busiek is the worst writer ever. And like,
I gotta read that story. I gotta read it.
No, you don't.
Is that bad?
No,
is that
read
bad?
it. I'm actually curious to hear what you think. I think the story is cool. I think it gets a little dragged out in the middle, and it could have been shorter, but they made it like I think it's like a 10 or a 12 issue thing. But a lot of people do like Kurt Busiek's Avengers run. I think it's horrible. I couldn't even read the whole thing. I think Kurt Busiek sucks. Like, when I see his name on a comic, I don't read it. And I'm kind of happy that they don't really do much with him anymore. But there was a period of time where he was a prominent Marvel writer. But anyway, I feel like the MCU could make gold with that story. The thing about MCU movies is they're never direct adaptations. They kind of take some and they, change it up. Which, by the way, is not like my rule of thumb for comic accuracy in comic book movies is that, number one, the characters have to be comic accurate. But there's a caveat. The more prominent and well-known or significant the character is, the more comic accurate he has to be. If that character is someone like Star-Lord and most fans don't really know who he is, you could get away with deviating more. Think about it. Do you think deviating from who Batman or Spider-Man is going to piss people off? Yes. Do you think people are going to be pissed off if you deviate for someone like Star-Lord, who people don't really know who he is? No. Common
100%.
sense.
100%.
With the stories, I think it's a little different because, number one, guys like me who've read the comics, I would like to see a new story, and they're going to do what fits their universe. The MCU wouldn't work if everything was a direct adaptation. So I say, hats off to Feige. Take your creative liberties. They invented the shared universe, and they changed the game. So who are we to tell them what rules they need to follow when it comes to comic book movie adaptations?
100%. And Hungry Almighty, you and I are in the same circle because I'm hearing the same thing. Yep, I heard about that. Avengers Incursion, Avengers versus X-Men, Avengers Secret Wars. The rumor that I heard is that Feige's going to announce Avengers versus X-Men, that he's going to announce that the Secret Wars Part 2 is going to be the Fox X-Men versus the OGs. So and that this isn't the new X-Men, because apparently they're going to do Avengers versus X-Men again with the new ones, but it's going to be the traditional version. This is just going to be like their Avengers version. And I would be excited if I got to see like huge, like a Wolverine and like freaking Steve Rogers fight. I mean, count me in, So,
by the way, that Avengers versus X-Men, like leading into Secret Wars, is definitely not going to be the story from the comics.
No.
Guaranteed.
No.
Yeah.
No. No.
It just doesn't make sense. It makes no sense to do that story.
No.
That story, for those of you who don't know, it's the Dark Phoenix is coming to Earth, and Cap and the Avengers, don't like. I forget exactly what had just happened, but the X-Men just had a lot of controversy, and the Cap and the Avengers are like, we don't want you in control of the Dark Phoenix. We just think that would be a problem, and the X-Men
Cyclops
are like,
crashed out.
yeah. Cyclops is like, hell no, it's not your call. And then Cyclops ends up getting summoned by the Dark Phoenix. And he goes berserk.
Yeah, he literally darn near turns evil. Like,
yeah.
One of the best storylines in comics. One of the best storylines in comics. By the way, man, Claremont.
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah, I think that next week we're gonna have to do a whole segment, just talk about him for like a nice amount of time, because I'm really impressed, bro. I really am impressed. But anyways, but yeah, I would be really excited if they do an Avengers versus X-Men, but it's like the OGs or the OGs in whatever roster we have versus the old school X-Men. I think that'll be fun. I think that'll be a very fun project. You can only get away with deviating mostly C-listers and B-listers. Exactly. So you can deviate guys, 100%. Okay, now let's get to these MCU X-Men rumors. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I am a little exhausted because we literally just talked about a whole 30 minutes of the female thing. So I'm gonna be like, I'm actually really tired talking about this. So, but let me read this real quick. Hold on, Cosmic. Give me a second. So this was posted on Twitter, and obviously people were on X. Sorry, obviously people were very upset about it. And so I'm going to read it to you in a second. Okay, so the first set of news is this. Marvel Studios is reportedly looking for a writer who can handle both comedy and drama for the upcoming X-Men reboot film. It seems like they don't want the film to be purely comedic. That was the first drop. And then a couple hours later, it said this. Marvel Studios reportedly wants their X-Men reboot film to focus on the female characters. They also want to introduce characters that we haven't seen in live action alongside the original members. So, look, I'm not trying to sound like a broken record again. I'm gonna say what Comic Cuts I tweeted. If they do this, if they do this, they're obviously cooked. I mean, there's no other way to spin it, right? The X-Men is about everyone. It is not about just one gender, right? This, like, the point of the X-Men is about a group of people where everyone comes from different strands of life and everyone has their own things that they deal with. I do expect the usual 2 to 3 leads, which would be, Cyclops, Rogue, Jean Grey, and Wolverine, because that's how it always is. There's always those 4 leads. But if you tell me that you're going to make a X-Men film and center it around like just random female characters, I don't think that's cool at all. And I have nothing against, because the X-Men is so big, I have nothing against where you might spend a movie being in Storm's homeland. I have nothing against that, because there's comics that support that. But if you're telling me that you're going to build the DNA of the X-Men on female characters, what else can I say? That's a loss, and no one's going to go and watch it.
You know what really, really pissed me off about this today? And I think I sent you this tweet at this X post. Someone was like, well, the Chris Claremont run is very female-centric. Like, yo, stop defending this, okay? If you want activism, go watch CNN, okay? Don't put it in X-Men, and don't support that stuff getting in X-Men. These are superhero movies, okay? These are not meant to drive political points to people that don't want their political points. And guess what? The other thing is, people are like, oh, well, it's important. No, it's not important. Not in this. Do you really think an X-Men movie is going to change someone's political opinion? Really? Are you dumb?
Yeah.
Are you dumb?
Yeah, leave us alone, man. We don't want it. We don't want no parts. We say facts. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. Yeah, man. We're not feeling it. And look, and this is how I feel. Look, and Comic Cuts and I understand, right? They're going to do a Phoenix series, and that's going to be about Jean Grey. We get that. We understand. Yeah, but you can't build the X-Men on the backs of female characters. The X-Men is built, the X-Men is made for everybody. That's the point of the X-Men. It's for everyone.
I really, really loved America Chavez in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and I walked out of that movie and I said, you know what?
Oh, he's being sarcastic, guys.
I'm going to vote for Joe Biden. That's what that movie made me want to do. Seriously, there's no, if you are defending this, I don't believe you that you think that this is going to change someone's political opinion. I think that you want to see it aggravate people that disagree with you. That's what I think you want. Yeah. And it's not cool.
Exactly. So yeah, so here, and look, where we're at is, as I said, we're on the side of we read the and look.
Jerry, I was being sarcastic.
Yeah. He's being sarcastic. Yeah. By the way, Jerry and I are reading Claremont as we speak, and Claremont's X-Men is not built on the back of females; it's built on the back of everybody, and that's how X-Men should be. And reading Claremont.
By the way, real quick, if you want the reading list of just the hits that we're reading, because Chris Claremont's X-Men run is super long. Even just the hits is pretty long. But if you want that list that me and Stevie are reading, shoot me a DM at Comics Cuts, Instagram or X, and I'll send you the list.
Exactly. Good stuff, bro. Good stuff. And also, I'll talk about it at the end of the episode. But yeah, guys, and Doe, you're right. The X-Men is universal, right? Look, the X-Men was created to reach everybody. That was the point of making the X-Men. You have a diverse cast that hits every single thing, right? I mean, because look, you have You have Magneto and Professor X, right? Holocaust, you know. I mean, it like they stick a lot. Like the Jewish community loves them. For me, you know, and I, you know, connect with super heavy because you know she's from, she's from Africa. And she's very like into her culture. You know, even Scott, like Scott models the American. You know, like and even Wolverine. Wolverine is really good for like people that are, you know, the loners, introverted, full of anger. Like the X-Men was created to really be for everyone. So you can't take a franchise that was made to be for everybody and build it on one thing. That's not the way it works.
And
So
I get the like representation aspect of that. Like I
yeah,
do get that. Like I'm Jewish. I love Magneto. You know, and I can get like, you know, what it's like for a kid growing up to see someone like T'Challa or, you know, Miles Morales. Like I 100% get that. But that's not what we're talking about. You know, we're talking about centering it around a character when it's the X-Men they've always been X-Men movies. They tried to do Wolverine movies. Even that they didn't really succeed so well with. But we're talking about X-Men movies. We're not talking about an X-Men movie where Jean Grey is the top lead. We're talking about X-Men. We want to see all of them. And you know, listen, I'm okay. Like we said before, I would love to see more movies like Black Widow and Captain Marvel. But what I don't want is to buy a ticket for an X-Men movie and then see a movie that's like just Storm. And by the way, I love Storm. I
yeah,
think
we
Storm's one of
we
the
love
coolest
Storm
characters.
around here.
Yeah, yeah. So I would be okay with seeing a Storm movie. But if you're going to do it, call it Storm. Don't call it X-Men. And I don't want to see a Storm movie before I see an X-Men movie.
Yep, 100%, yeah, man. So yeah, but I will say I do like the fact that they do want to introduce other X-Men characters because I do think that a lot of fans are boiled down to about 6 or 7. So I am happy that like they do want to add more characters into the mix. So I mean, they're like I would be very excited to see that as well. But yeah, man, you know, one of the only movies that got in, I think that Black Panther one has to be the blueprint for most people because Black Panther, for the most part, they honored the culture by creating their own culture. Wakanda's nothing like what we've seen on this earth, but it honors culture by creating its own. You know,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really step too hard on any toes. It's just about its own thing. So and then like remember when they called the one dude a colonizer, like colonizer, like but it's funny. It's like it's the troll. It's the joke. You know,
Right.
like that's the only movie I've seen that superhero movie I've seen that makes it work.
It's
So
ironic for anyone in America to call anyone a colonizer.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, yeah,
they're dumb, but
yeah, it
whatever.
was hilarious.
You
But
know.
yeah, so but yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I keep meaning to send you pictures in the new Avengers run going on.
Right now,
they have Black Panther rocking a cape, and it is
so
sick. No,
bro.
and it's a tan cape too on a black suit, and bro, it is so sick. I'm gonna send it to you after, but it is so cool.
Do you think that he's in your top 10 favorite all time? Favorite characters all time?
Probably. You know what? The thing I love about Black Panther is like he has a lot of. I love his tactics. I love that he's espionage. I love his politics. Like a lot of everything he does encompasses like a lot of the stuff that I'm interested in like regular life, and a lot of his superhero stuff in the comics. It's kind of similar to James Bond, so I always love T'Challa for those reasons. I
that's
would
a
say
good comparison. That's a
yeah.
really good comparison. T'Challa is like a Marvel James Bond. That's a really good comparison. I never thought of that, but you're right.
Obviously, not the being a king or anything like that, but
he's
in
suave.
terms of,
He's suave. He has that type of.
He's suave. He's a spy, and you know James Bond's not a king, but James Bond does missions for the government. So like there are a lot of parallels between T'Challa and James Bond that I've always noticed that. And yeah, I would say he's definitely in my top 10 for sure.
Do you want do you want a Storm and T'Challa relationship in the MCU?
Yeah, oh, dude, that would be sick. That would be so sick, for sure. Storm's one of my. She's just badass, and yeah, like it sucks that they didn't do T'Challa. It's like crazy. And by the way, that's like another really stupid thing. It's like we love T'Challa so much that we don't want to see him in another movie. Like,
Big L's all around.
Yeah, you're real fans. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Character, personality, and the look of a character is what's most important. Fell in love with Magneto and T'Challa because of their character. Them being diverse and not what attracted me. 100%. 100%. As we said earlier, like don't tell us, show us.
Yeah. Like I like Magneto because he's Jewish, but I don't expect anyone else to like Magneto because he's Jewish. I'm Jewish, so Yep.
I have to ask, do you think Gambit is going on 97? Okay. Let me get into this real quick, okay? Because I do have a theory. So if you saw an episode, I think it was 5. Remember when Professor X saw Gambit in the astral plane? What really creeped me out about that, it seemed like Gambit was trying to communicate with Professor X. It seemed like Gambit was communicating with him through the astral plane. So my theory is that his soul is somewhere. And that's kind of where I kind of see it. I think it's possible that Gambit could come back, but I think it's going to be like a new body, a new person, stuff like that. But yeah, I think Gambit's out there somewhere. There's no way that the only person that's able to, like, out of all those people that died, Gambit can reach Professor X in the astral plane. And that scene was actually pretty scary. Like, it kind of creeped me out a little bit.
I also think there is something to be said for killing off significant characters. And I kind of think that if they were to bring Gambit back in this season 1, I think that it would really hurt the significance of it, and I don't think people would take the show as serious. You can't kill off a character and then bring him back the same season in a show like this, and people are gonna, people won't take the show seriously.
Yeah, and we already know that, and we found out last episode that Magneto is alive. So, I mean,
yeah, they can't do it, and Magneto makes more sense. So,
by the way, Bastion looks freaking awesome. By the way,
yeah, he does.
Man, he looks cool. All right, now let's get to this next topic. Okay, hold on. So something like how they did Morph, not necessarily how they did Morph, because Morph can become whoever he wants. So not necessarily like Morph, but I just think that like there's a way for him to come back. Maybe they go down and get a soul. I don't know, something like that. Who knows? All right. All right, Spider-Man 3. So Spider-Man 3 is back in theaters. They've been doing a lot of re-releasing of the Tobey Maguire movies. I think it's funny because as these movies, but by the way, it did Spider-Man 3 yesterday did, I think, 700K in theaters, which is crazy.
One day.
Yeah, crazy. One day. So, which is pretty awesome. Now, this could mean something, because it's funny how Sam Raimi's been talking about doing a Spider-Man 4. Now, I personally don't think a Spider-Man 4 is going to happen, even though I think Tobey Maguire and Kristen Dunst would be down to do it. I don't really see that happening, but there's been a lot of fans kind of talking about this. I want Sam Raimi to do the Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, I don't because I mean,
I don't know. I would be happy with Spider-Man 4, but I think it would be better for Sam Raimi to do the next Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Yeah, because like, I mean, it would be fun to see Tobey Maguire with his kids and doing all like that. Oh, that would be so cute to see, so cool. Like father Spider-Man, and plus, I'm pretty sure they just brought some back to comics too. I think so. I mean, it'll be pretty. Cool.
I don't think they should make him a father. In
that's the only other way that they could go for Tobey Spider-Man to make it like seem like they
could de-age him a bit, and it's only in like one-off or like alternate reality comics where Spider-Man becomes a father. So I don't know how I feel about the father aspect, but like I think that of all of the Spider-Man movies, like the Tobey Maguire ones capture the essence of Spider-Man better than any of them, and I would argue that with anyone till the end of But I just think that the MCU is what we have right now, and we need the MCU Spider-Man. So that's why I'd be for Sam Raimi doing Spider-Man above going back and doing Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4.
Yeah, plus Sam Raimi gets Spider-Man just like you said, like the same way that I hate saying this. The same way people think that Nolan understand Batman is the same way. Yeah. Is the same way that I know you're licking your chops right here, but it's the same way that Raimi feels about or it's the same way that I feel about Raimi and Spider-Man. Yeah, and because Marvel has the team to where they don't need Raimi to do the action. Like they have people that can take care of that. But I think that there's certain staples in Spider-Man that John Watts just missed, and I don't think it's because John Watts is a bad director. It's just because he doesn't know Spider-Man. And even Mark Webb with the TASM movies, he even understood that, So
I will say the one thing that the TASM movies have better than anyone is the web swinging.
The visuals.
Yeah, bro.
No. TASM might be the best superhero visuals of all time. Just being honest. Like it's different. And Brendan literally sent me, bro, like the visual of Andrew Garfield like slow-moing through Electro shots. And I'm like, bro, why is this better than any other superhero film I've ever seen in my life?
Yeah, it's crazy. And
it's kind of scary.
Snyder is the king. Like, Mark Webb and TASM cooked anything Snyder did.
I think Webb and Zack Snyder are kind of the same.
It's a great point. It's just Zack Snyder has an overinflated fan base.
Yeah. Well, it's because instead of fans clinging to Mark Webb, they cling to Andrew, which is probably healthier than clinging to Webb. But yeah, because Webb has the best visuals that we've probably seen in a Marvel movie all time, but his writing just sucked. His ideas were bad, you know what I mean? The visuals save those movies. Same thing with Zack Snyder. I mean, like Zack Snyder visuals is just different, bro.
The Dark Knight Return shots of Batman are just fire.
I do think Mark Webb is better though. I will say, it's just the TASM stuff, because even the dark scenes were so defined and it was colorful. I mean, like, man, if I'm Kevin Feige, I'm hiring Mark Webb to do my freaking visuals for like it would be awesome if Feige was able to bring in Mark Webb, right, to do the shots and visuals for Spider-Man, and then you bring in Sam Raimi to write and direct the film. And I would love that for Batman too. Now I know this would never happen. I would love if someone like Nolan or Nolan came in and helped write, or no, I would love if Matt Reeves wrote Batman and dealt with a lot of the visuals. I would love if Christopher Nolan directed Batman. Like there's just certain sides to where it would kind of fit like a perfect coin. So yeah, man, I really hope Sam Raimi does this. And Comic Cuts, let's be honest, if Sam Raimi directs Spider-Man 4, this is going to be one of the most fun runs we're ever going to have for a superhero film.
Yeah. And the one thing Spider-Man 4 needs is classic Spider-Man.
Yeah, kind of like how, don't you know how you said, you probably remember this. Remember how you said months ago that I think you said that Superman needs to make fans believe that good heroes exist or something, or you said you said Superman has to be shown as
a beacon of optimism.
Yes. That's what Spider-Man 4 has to be.
Yeah. I also think that it's a little different with Spider-Man, because I don't think Spider-Man is a parallel version of Superman with
not at all
optimism. If anyone's like that, it's Captain America, but they're very different. But the Spider-Man, I think, I do think that they kind of touched on it a bit in the MCU, where it's Spider-Man is relatable. Everybody can relate to things in his life and how he gets into these situations and he has to make these decisions. But I think that they could do a better job of it. I don't think they nailed that by any means in the MCU, and I think that they could do that in like, again, the way Sam Raimi did. Like, Spider-Man really had to balance his life and his secrets and things that he wanted with MJ and his school and his career. And it's interesting because in Spider-Man No Way Home, the whole movie was about him not being able to balance the two lives. But the one thing you don't see is Spider-Man actually living the Peter Parker life. You never saw that in No Way Home.
Yeah.
But you did see it in Homecoming and Far From Home. So I don't fault them that much for that. But what I will say about Sam Raimi and Spider-Man is that, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man is timeless because Sam Raimi's Spider-Man is the definitive Spider-Man, and the definitive Spider-Man is classic.
Yep, 100%. Tasm had the best swinging scenes, 100%. Webb understood Spider-Man better than Snyder did with Superman and Batman, 100%.
Yep.
It needs a classic villain, I agree.
Yep.
What is relatable to you guys? Because I hear some people say Dwayne Wayne.
Go back to this.
You go ahead.
It needs a classic villain. So everyone, another point of the fandom online asking for dumb things. They love asking for.
I gotta go pee. I'll be right back.
They love asking for trash villains, and I say it about Batman all the time. Everyone's like, "Oh, well, there's a lot of water in Gotham after the Batman, so like Mr. Freeze could freeze the water, so he'd be a great villain." Like, Mr. Freeze is a trash villain, and that's why comic writers never use him in their stories, is because he sucks. And you know who else sucks? Scorpion. Matt Gargan is not a good villain. He's a B villain at best. There are much better villains, and I don't care if some of them might be overused. I'd rather see Doc Ock, Venom. You know who I'd love to see is Kraven. Kraven is such an underused villain in the movies. They might be running into some issues now because Sony's trying to make a Kraven movie. But I'm not opposed to Aaron Taylor Johnson playing Kraven in the MCU. I think he's a great villain, Kraven. And what's so cool about Kraven to me is that, like, his whole thing is like being a hunter in the jungle, and he lives for the hunt. That's all he cares about. It's like sport for him. So it's a different aspect of the villain. Okay, let's get to the Hungry Almighty. What is relatable to you guys? Because I hear some people say Damian Wayne is not relatable. But to me, relatable means a character where you can put yourself in their shoes and understand their perspective. Great question.
Okay,
so
yeah. But
so I think number one, like, I don't think people should take relatable too literally with superhero stuff, because, like, if you're going to say Damian Wayne is relatable, which he might be to you, you might have like a mother who abandoned you for a father who isn't really, a traditional father figure, but wants to be there for you in a different way. And you might relate to Damian Wayne, or you might relate to Spider-Man because you are, an average American and you struggle to balance things in your life, but you're not balancing being Spider-Man. Like, so that's what I think relatable means. You can relate to the predicaments and, situations in their life. You obviously can't swing through New York City like a fucking spider.
Yeah. So as a lifetime Robin fan, because Robin and comic Jerry knows Robin's my favorite superhero of all time. Dick Grayson, take out the Lakers. I know, dude. My Lakers got cooked, dude. Stop, bro. I'm sorry. We're not going to talk about that. As when it comes to Robin, Dick Grayson is the only relatable character in DC Comics. Okay, that's
crazy. That is crazy, bro.
It's truth. It's truth. It's truth. It's truth. Like I think that a lot of people probably see themselves in Dick Grayson. Damian Wayne was not created to be a relatable character. That
But
was
that
not the
doesn't
purpose. That was not the
that
purpose of creating Damian Wayne. Period.
but that doesn't mean people can't relate to him. I think that some people could relate to Batman in some ways. I think some people could relate to I think the Flash was made to be a relatable character. But I think people can relate to Batman in terms of something happening in their life and making them kind of a darker person with a bleaker perspective on the world from that point forward. And I think that there are things that people relate to with these characters that are unique to them. And, there's someone like Spider-Man who is obviously a very relatable character, and a lot of fans relate to Spider-Man. But I think that there are people who might have something unique that makes them relate to a character that not everyone would realize is relatable. And I think that's what makes certain characters special to some people and others special to others.
Yeah, so I did disagree to an extent because I think that Boy Wonder characters are more relatable than anyone. That's why people like Spider Man. That's why people like Dick Grayson also, and that's why I think that if people got to see even Kid Flash in a movie, they would think he's more relatable than even Barry Allen himself. Like I think that like younger characters are just more relatable in general, but I think that Damien is different because I mean, Damien's just this young douchebag, a kid that was raised to be an assassin. I mean, he's nothing to be relatable. And I think that Damian Wayne not being relatable is literally what is going to make him one of the sleeper characters. Like, I think that Brave and the Bold is going to make Damian Wayne a staple. And
I said that from day one.
yes,
Damian Wayne I think he's the most underrated. I think he's the best Robin. And
yep.
after you told me after reading the Batman and Robin that they're using to inspire the movie that you
Mhm.
thought Damian Wayne might be your favorite Robin. But I still think my original point stands. Like, I think there are things about these characters that people have a unique relation to, and you wouldn't know unless you spoke to them or know their life. And like, I think that's what's special about a lot of this. And then I think that there are characters like Spider-Man and Flash who are more widely relatable to people.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that instead of using the term relatable, I think that like there's more characters that people look to be like. That's what I would
Well,
say.
that's
More than relatable.
that's like more aspirational
Yeah,
than
yeah, that's the word. I
yeah.
I think that more. I think the better word, hungry for relatable is aspire. Like I think more people aspire to be like Superman, or more people aspire to be like Batman in a way, because Batman's always putting himself on line for others. I think there's certain. I think there's more aspirations than
You
trying to
know
relate to characters.
what's interesting, and I'm just gonna say it, but I one of the posts that I drafted and I didn't let off until I was like, you know what, screw it. I just had it with some of these people that I'm gonna let some savage off. I'm gonna read it. I find it ironic that people love to say they agree with Cap in Civil War
I remember you did
only
that.
to
Yeah.
have taken Tony's position in real life. And it's so true because I see a lot of people who, and I'm not going to get into it, but I'm talking about COVID. And I probably should have said that. Whatever.
What?
You know what? Whatever. I already on there. So, all right. So, I just think that like a lot of people aspire to be like Captain America, and they
Hmm.
say in Civil War that, oh, Cap was right. Cap was right. By the way, I 100% think Captain America was right in Civil War, and I think anyone's out of their mind if they disagree with that. However, it's crazy because I've seen so many people online say like how wrong Tony was in Civil War. However, in that period of time that I just mentioned, they went with Tony's position.
Yeah.
So I think it's like people aspire to be like these characters But then in real life, when those situations present themselves, they can't even recognize it, and they go the complete opposite direction, which is crazy.
Yeah, but the reason why was because Tony and Steve flipped sides for once. Steve was the one that went by the book, and then Tony was like the wild, like, or I don't say Steve went by the book, but like Steve Rogers was like the God's righteous man. That's what Ultron said about him. Versus where Tony, like if Tony's gonna do whatever he got to do to get what he wants, and it seemed like the role flipped, and so I feel like fans were always on that route. It was just that the roles flipped to where Steve was kind of the driving force, and Tony was kind of that on that side.
In the MCU, the roles definitely did kind of flip, but I think that in the beginning, like especially, and I know the scene you're talking about in Avengers 1, when they're on the ship and Tony's like, I don't trust them, and Captain America was kind of like giving Tony pushback. Like, I cut Captain America some slack there. Because Captain America was just taken out of the ice. He is so young. He's naive. He's not as experienced in the world, let alone the modern world that they were in that Avengers. So, I cut him some slack. And also, like, knowing Captain America into who he grew into in the MCU and in the comics, like, you will be hard pressed to find times where Captain America in his right mind ever made the wrong decision or like was in an immoral point of view. Captain America is like the definition of like doing what's right.
Yeah. Yo, so Matt just said,
what do you think? What do you think though of my cutting him slack and why I cut him slack in Avengers 1?
I wouldn't honestly, like I wouldn't personally, because I feel like even when Captain America was in the army, like, and I know I've read some comic where, what was it? It was a comic I read a long time ago, probably when I was younger. But basically, it was saying that like Hydra, like even when Steve was fighting during that time, there were still Hydra dealings going on from the U.S. Army to Hydra, like behind the scenes. Right. So like I don't know, I like the naive, I like the naive Steve Rogers, but like they're like, bro, like even Natasha knew, like Natasha works for Shield and she knows there's something fishy going on behind the scenes. Even Hawkeye said it. Like Hawkeye, like Hawkeye was like, yo, like, but we all know something's going on here. So I see Steve Rogers' side, but at the same time, it's like, bro, like, don't be that naive. But
look how hard he went in Civil War, though.
But we get the payoff because Winter Soldier's like, F the government. So
right.
The payoff.
Have you read the Civil War comic?
Yes, I have read Civil War comic.
Yeah. By the way, Civil War is probably my number one favorite comic of all time. Yeah. And for those of you who haven't read it, spoiler alert, but it's worth the spoiler because obviously you haven't been in a rush to read it. It's been out for a long time. Captain America dies. Like, they actually shoot him dead in that comic book. And everyone was pissed.
I know. Yeah. Okay, next topic. My Avengers with Superman season 2. So my Avengers with Superman, they are doing a season 2, which is pretty exciting. I watched season 1. Hammercuts is still catching up on it, but I will say this show was pretty cool. It's not, they're not doing too much, they're not going too hard on it, but I really like what they've done. I love the way that they show the Kryptonian stuff. I love the suit. I think it's very similar to what we're going to see with the Superman Legacy suit as well. But we did find out something new about the Superman. Bro, I was literally about to say Superman Legacy. Oh my gosh. My adventures with Superman. Off topic. I literally texted Jerry. I said, bro, I keep saying Superman Legacy every time. It's like implanted in my brain.
By the way, you know what I just realized? All the Snyder fans who love to rip on the logo for the Superman logo for the DCU Superman, they never said anything about My Adventures with Superman.
It's the same logo.
It's almost like they don't care about Superman enough to know what's going on with Superman unless Zack Snyder's involved. Because they're Zack Snyder fans, they're not Superman fans.
Exactly. So, but yeah, the one thing that this show did show though, bro, was that Supergirl is going to be in this, and she looks dope. So, and it's very interesting. Do you know why, bro? That is interesting because we found out that Millie Alcock is going to be playing Supergirl in Superman Legacy as well. So,
oh, she's playing it in the animated.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I keep saying Superman Legacy. No. I'm saying she's going to be the live action Supergirl in the Superman movie.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting that we are seeing in season 2 what is going to be very similar to the Superman movie, which is really making me feel like James Gunn has to have his hand on this animated Superman show to some extent. And I think that not that we're going to see a connection, but I do expect to see some similarities from this show, to the movie as well. But yeah, right. The show is good, and I'm really excited to see what more they're going to do. And I love Lois Lane in this show, man. She's amazing.
Oh man, I gotta watch that. It sounds great,
dude.
I love that.
Like
Superman's getting a lot of spotlight lately.
Oh yeah, and bro, there's an episode where Jimmy Olsen plays the third wheel, dude. It's hilarious, and basically like Superman and Lois keep going away, and Jimmy Olsen's pissed. It's funny, bro. It's funny.
Right.
So, yeah, man, we are very excited about Superman, man. 1 second, and then I want to pull up one last thing. So Cable is not going to be in Deadpool. So so Josh Brolin talked about it, and he said this. He so wanted to return as Cable in Deadpool and Wolverine. He said this. Marvel is more of a complex labyrinth. I will never know where that went or what that is for what I'm involved with or what I'm not involved with when it comes to the MCU. Cable was a lot of fun. I really liked doing that role. Josh Brolin, they will call you for Thanos before they call you to be Cable.
Yeah, I didn't hate his Cable. You don't like his Cable?
No, I thought he was good, but his Thanos role was so iconic that they would call him Thanos before they would call him be Cable. But I can see Cable being in the
I can see. Here's the thing: the MCU is going to need Cable before they need Thanos right now.
Yeah, I mean, if they are doing this old school Avengers versus X-Men, a Josh Brolin Cable would be awesome.
Hell yeah, he's a great actor,
dude. What if would it be outside of the range of comic books if for Avengers versus X-Men, the Avengers kick their butts and the Avengers talk to like a variant of Thanos and it's like, yo, join our team? Would that be out of character for Marvel?
I feel like there was some weird comic. Let me look it up that Thanos did join their team. Hold on.
Because what's even crazier is that in the Avengers Endgame, Thanos had no gauntlet. All he had was his armor and that freaking sword, and he was just wrecking them.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, he's a savage.
Thanos has never been a formal member of the Avengers team in the comics. However, there have been instances where Thanos has allied with or worked alongside the Avengers temporarily for various reasons, often due to shared interests or facing a common threat. One notable example, how can I forget? Infinity in Jonathan Hickman, Thanos launches an invasion of Earth, prompting the Avengers to rally their forces to defend against him. Although Thanos is not a member of the Avengers, he plays a central role in the conflict, leading to temporary alliances and uneasy partnerships as the heroes attempt to thwart his plans. Additionally, in the comic book series Thanos, The Infinity Revelation, by Jim Starlin, he's meant to read this one. Thanos briefly allies with the Avengers to confront a greater cosmic threat. However, his alliance with the Avengers is short-lived and primarily motivated by self-interest rather than genuine heroism. While Thanos has occasionally worked alongside the Avengers in specific storylines, he remains primarily known as one of their most formidable adversaries rather than a member of the team.
I think this video is going to do 1,000 views, by the way, because I'm definitely going to clip this. I think if they put Thanos on that Avengers roster, and because I think an incursion would make Thanos turn, just being honest.
Yeah, but they killed Thanos.
No, they would just go to another Earth and just
okay. Yeah. The thing is, though, if Thanos is on another Earth, he's going to fight to get the incursion to take out our main MCU Earth.
Would he though? Because his whole goal is to create a new universe. Because if he takes out, if he takes out
I
the
don't know that
X-Men,
that's his goal, is taking a new universe. I think his goal is
I'm
to deplete half of the population to save resources.
I was going off an Endgame when he got pissed. He was like, "I'm just going to create something new where like no one knows who you are." Or he said that to the Avengers. But that was when he was like pushed to his limit. You're right. That was when he was pushed to his limit.
Yeah,
bro. Thanos was pissed in that movie.
Yeah, he is about making resources abundant, and however he needs to do that, he's going to do it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so but now we have no more topics, but I do want to talk about this real quick, man. So for some reason, there's been some smear campaign going on The Rock Johnson today. Okay, so this is not superheroes, but whatever. The Rock is important to me. I love The Rock. So basically, they talked about this. There's this Christmas movie that he did with J.K. Simmons and Chris Evans, and basically anonymous, of course, people said that The Rock was 7 to 8 hours late to set, and they said that The Rock didn't give a F, and they were basically saying that The Rock is like one of the worst people to work with, and it's just funny because this article came out of nowhere, and it was very anonymous, and to me, it just seemed like a random smear campaign on Dwayne Johnson. While he's filming freaking Moana, like he's doing a kids movie,
right?
And you're trying to kill him. And Dead of Nerds tweeted this. He said maybe The Rock was just busy. ... Because he's The Rock. Sheesh. It must be a slow news day. That's what he said. Now I just want to say this about this, man. The Rock is one of the only people in Hollywood that advocates for movies to be made 24/7, and The Rock is the reason why a lot of people have jobs. Just saying.
Right.
The Rock is one of the most active people in Hollywood when it comes to producing, making movies. This dude bought the XFL, number one, and he's bringing the XFL to glory where it's never been. And he's employing all these people. Dude, I know people from Delaware that is in the XFL that is getting paid. I mean, The Rock has done so much for the movie industry and for the world in general. I think it's kind of crazy to go and smear this man out of nowhere for no reason.
So I don't think it's out of nowhere for no reason. I think number one, The Rock is like the highest paid actor in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And when you are at the top of such a competitive industry, and he's been at the top of this industry for a long time.
True.
I think that there are ulterior motives to something like this that we don't know. Maybe there's a role that, someone wants and The Rock is interested in. There's probably something going on, and this is just smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't going to get any traction because I was reading tweets and people were like, yo, The Rock owns 20 companies. They were like, what do you expect them to do?
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like, he's The Rock. Of course he's busy. Yeah.
Bro, say he's just The Rock, man. Who cares? I mean, so yeah, man. So I mean,
this reminds me.
Crazy.
It's so stupid. It reminds me, and I don't really get much into my profession on here because it has nothing to do with the show. But I work in the financial services industry, and I was once at a sales conference, and I'll never forget this. This girl, part of the conference, it was like an educational thing, and it was for the company. And this girl who was like new to sales, when she was like had to do a cold call in front of everyone, she called a certain like company that the name of the company, and to try to sell them a certain financial service. And it wasn't Microsoft, but let's say it was Microsoft. She calls the receptionist of the entire office, and she's like, "Hey, is Bill there?" Like, it was that stupid. Like, yeah, the receptionist is just going to connect you to Bill Gates. Like, these people are busy, and they're not going to just it's just so dumb. And I don't understand why. What's also interesting to me is that the media. I mean, who ran the story? Was it Variety or something?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, like were they paid to do it? That's the thing. There's so many smoke and mirrors. Like, was it really an anonymous source?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem it. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, exactly. Right. So, yeah, man,
Yeah.
it's wild how like these little mini smear campaigns happen. Like, we just want movies, bro. That's all it is, man. We just want movies.
Yeah. This reminds me of another thing. So, what's his name? Ray Fisher.
Ray Fisher.
So
Yeah.
Ray Fisher, like, he is, he's like made up stories about James Gunn, I'm pretty sure, and
Ray's terrible.
Yeah, he is awful, and he is always picking fights with other professionals in the industry on X, formerly known as Twitter. And what he started, another thing, he started signing off the end of his tweets with A greater than E, representing accountability is greater than entertainment. And like a lot of his fans, when they're like defending him, they put A is greater than E. It's funny because like I'm like, you are not going to tell me that accountability is greater than entertainment. Like, yeah, I don't want anything bad happening to people and everything, but like,
it's the entertainment business, brother.
Yeah, I am looking to watch movies. Like, I'm sorry, but like the accountability in your personal life, it's like, you can't expect that to be so significant in everyone else's life.
Yeah, exactly. Mind you, when these people are making millions of dollars, like some of these people have no social skills. Like, it's just these people never learn. When like imagine your job is you have to act like you're someone else. I mean, these people have identity issues, bro. It's hard. Entertainment isn't an easy game. It is not. All right.
For some reason, people with that profession think that their opinions on everything else is more important than everyone else's.
100%.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to end here, guys. I do want to say something real quick. So, Jerry and I, obviously, like, we've really been kind of like hitting the chalkboard, trying to think of ways to do memberships because, like, we see a lot of people out there, and we don't want to rip you guys off, right? To where like you sign up for a membership and it's corny and like you're not getting anything out of it, and that's why even though when we got monetized, we weren't quick to like jump out with a random, membership like a lot of people do, because we want to give you guys product that's like worth the money that you're paying. So we did start a membership, and I'm gonna post it on our community page. You can also join. I think it's when you first log on. When you first go on our page, you can see it. So it is a $4.99, and we're not forcing you to join. You can join if you want. If you don't want to, if you don't want to join, I don't care. But what this is so Jerry and I are going to be going through every single superhero film and TV show ever made, and we are going to give a detailed review of it. And we're going to start with the MCU. So we're going to go through the whole entire MCU, and then we're going to go through probably maybe the DCEU or whatever, Jerry or I want to do. And we're just going to review content. And
we're not doing every single movie ever made, but we're doing like every movie that's like relevant to our movie culture.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Superhero films. Sorry. My bad. Yeah. They're gonna be like, you doing John Wick? No. I'm saying every. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So
we're not doing like Citizen Kane or.
Yeah. My bad. Yeah. I'm talking more like, like Dark Knight trilogy, MCU. We might even go to the Donner stuff, like really just
nerd culture.
Yeah. Sorry. All superhero films ever made and superhero TV shows. And if we do the TV shows, we're going to review by the season because like TV shows have like 23 episodes. We're not doing like episode 1 unless if it's like a 10 episode show. So Jerry and I are very excited. I'm hyped to go back through Daredevil again and shows like that, and even to watch exactly like, I mean, so we're pretty hyped up about this. So if you want to join that, please join. I also created a Discord that I'm going to link next week, and basically that chat is basically where I'm going to drop all of our videos and all of our tweets are going to be flowing through there. So any tweet that Comic Cuts will tweet, that will go right through our chat. Any tweet that I will tweet will go right through the chat, and we're going to use what Comic Cuts and what I tweet to kind of build conversation like in our chat, so you guys can debate superheroes and stuff like that. So please be on the lookout for that. So yeah, that's our first membership. We kind of want to just rock out with that for a while, and if you guys like, let's say we get 1,000 people on it, I mean, we might add another one. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. But I do know that the next membership that we most likely add will probably have something to do with comic books, because Comic Cuts is always in the comic books. I'm kind of starting to get back into it. So we might be posting our comic pools on there. We might do a little reading club, not to where we're sitting on camera, but like we might just post what we're reading and give like little excerpt on that. So, a lot of ideas are kind of being shot around, but the one that we've landed on is the movie thing. So, if you want to see something with comics, leave a comment below just so we can see the temperature on what y'all want.
So on the comics note, I am going to be on the Cultured Pull List podcast, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday night this week. So that's in 2 nights from today. And Mike and I are going to be talking about just some comics we've been reading, what we're liking seeing right now. If you're into comics, this year has been crazy. I mean, we are getting so much fire from DC, especially Marvel. So there's a lot to talk about. It should be an awesome conversation, and hope to see you there.
All right, guys. Tune in. Culture Poolers. I'll be watching too. Can't wait to see my guy cook up there. We love you guys. Have a great day and peace out.
Love you guys. Peace.